Hi Capricorn, I hope you guys are doing well. We have so much to cover, so let's get right into this. I did pre-shuffle these already, but I'm going to be pulling a Black Moon astrology card for your crowning energy. We're going to be talking some astrology leading in, okay guys? Just because it's really important, and we're going to talk about why you get the Grand Cross Provoker card as your crowning energy. And let's do a quick pull. I'm going to do a Celtic cross spread. This is going to be for Capricorn, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. General spread. Guys, please take what resonates, throw out the rest. But I have to tell you, I am feeling extremely tuned into you guys. For those of you who are going to resonate in a big way, yeah. Okay, let's talk about this. So we have the Ten of Swords. Okay, pretty cool. Six of Cups. Okay, we're feeling very nostalgic about something. You guys went through it in the past. Coming forward on some fairness, some temperance. You guys got the Sun for you. That's gorgeous. You guys know that is my favorite card in the deck. And then we got the Knight of Cups as your outcome. Beautiful. All right. Let's talk about what the hell is going on in the sky, though, okay? Eclipses. All right. First of all, when it comes to eclipses, we need to think about them as a story that takes around 2 years to unfold. And there are two types of eclipses, solar and lunar. Why am I going into this with you? Because if you guys don't realize it, this is the Cancer Capricorn eclipse coming around to hit us again, beginning of July, but the shadow is 6 months, 6 weeks rather, prior. Okay, so we're feeling it now. We're feeling it. And I know a lot of you guys are feeling it. I know I've been doing a lot of readings for Cancer and Capricorns and Pisces, right? We have a lot of those three energies in a big way. Okay. So anyway, it is a story that takes a couple of years to unfold. We have the solar and the lunar. So the solar eclipses occur during the new moon phase when the sun and the moon are positioned at the exact same degree within the same sign. And what's important to know here is the moon passes between the sun and the earth, temporarily obscuring the sun. So if you just think about that for a minute, that'll make sense to you why things get wonky with these eclipses. And then the lunar eclipses, on the other hand, it corresponds with the full moon phase. So during that time, the moon emanates the Earth's shadow, so it's dealing with shadow. So eclipses happen between 3 and 7 times a year. You're gonna get, some astrologers are gonna say twice a year, some are gonna say more. And I know 3 and 7 seems like a really big gap, and to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter. It vacillates from chunks of years to chunks of years. But it does normally happen in clusters, okay? But I want you guys to think back to like around July 13th, 2018, okay? Because that's when this story began, in the middle of July of 2018 that we're in right now, okay? And it's going to continue through 2020, and it's lighting up the Cancer and Capricorn space. So this eclipse, you know, it's going to continue this summer with the solar eclipse in Cancer on July 2nd. And a partial lunar eclipse in you guys in Capricorn on July 16th into 17th. It's kind of like it falls from one day into the next. So the final eclipse on this axis is going to be July 5th into 6th of 2020. When a total lunar eclipse is going to happen in 13 degrees of you, of Capricorn, to conclude this 2-year story, this 2-year cycle. So astrologically speaking, eclipses speed up time. They open new doors by slamming others shut. So we often find abrupt and sudden shifts during this time. And the shifts can be very jarring, okay? I'm not going to lie, okay? But the thing is this. Eclipses help us to speed up the inevitable. So if you've been dragging your feet on something, if you've been very wishy-washy, if you've been very indecisive, we're just, you know, straight up super confused, the eclipses are going to help us by speeding up this process. So, you know, you need to respect that. It's not going to be a push, it's going to be a shove for you to take a needed action. So while the results of this can be uncomfortable, you know, shocking, remember, that this is meant to expedite the inevitable. And these things are going to happen eventually anyway, Capricorn. You just have to go into it knowing that. And this is all about understanding that everything is, cyclical. It's all about cycles. And look, what happens with a cycle is there's a culmination, and then that culmination is always on the edge of a new beginning, right? So pay very close attention to what's occurring in your life at this time, because you need to be sure that you anticipate that there are going to be some major pivots over the next 2 years in your life. We have a lot of other astrology going on right now. We do have Mercury going retrograde again, yada yada. We know all about that. I want to address, because I do want to get to the tarot reading. And if you guys want more astrology heavy tarot readings that are longer, just let me know. But the reason I want to focus on the eclipses is because they are going to be most profound. But this is the thing. 2 things I want to mention before we get into the Celtic cross spread. First, I want you guys to think back, those of you who are old enough, I know I am, think back to 2000 to 2002. And then think from 2009 to 2011. What was going on in your life? What was the narrative that was going on in your life? Because that was the last time that we had the Cancer Capricorn eclipse. Okay? Now, the thing is with the eclipse, a lot of times, something leaves our life, is eclipsed away, and something new comes in. Sometimes something new comes in before the thing leaves, okay? Whatever is meant to leave, leaves. I'm going to give you an example from my life. Even though I'm a Gemini sun, I am a Cancer rising, Cancer Venus. I have a lot of Cancer in me, okay? So I resonate very highly with Cancer. So back in 2000, my twins were born. My twin boys were born. But my mother passed away 18 months later, within the time of that narrative. My mother, who was hands down my best friend, okay? So I had this incredible blessing, but I had this incredible loss within the time frame of that narrative. Then fast forward to 2009 into 2011. From 2009 into 2010, I divorced the father of my twins, of my boys. And I completely rediscovered myself and redefined myself and just improved myself in 5 million ways, seriously. So that while getting divorced and rebuilding yourself is not the same as giving birth and a parent dying, but it kind of is for me. It was, because these were my home spaces. That's where my heart lays, So that is an example for you guys to just kind of think about. And I'm not using it to talk about myself. This is so not about me, but I feel like sometimes examples do help to illustrate how things will work. The next thing I wanted to discuss is degrees, okay? And I want to talk about the degrees before I mention the houses that the eclipse is really going to be impacting the greatest for you guys. Every sign has early degree, middle degree, late degree, okay? So for you guys, for Capricorn, those of you born in December or from 0 to 9 degrees are considered early degree placements, okay? Those of you who are January 1st to the 10th or 10 to 19 degrees, you're considered middle degree placements. And those of you who are after January, from January 11th on, you're considered late degree or 20 to 29 degree. Why do I mention this? Because when we're dealing with something as specific as an eclipse, the degrees matter, okay? You guys are going to be feeling it mostly in your 6th house of health, and health is physical and or mental and emotional. It could just be also the way you see the world, okay? On a very psychological level, and also your 12th house of self-undoing, okay? So for you guys, so you're going to have the middle degree, the early degree and middle degree are primarily going to have the 6th and 12th house, okay, really focused here. Whereas the later degree, you're going to have the 6th, the 12th, and also a lot of the 1st and the 7th, okay, which has a lot to do with self and relationships. So you're going to have to apply that wherever your placement is. And I know I went kind of fast with that, so just feel free to rewind and go over that. But those are the areas that you guys are going to be most dealing it the most. This is really about, guys, though, we're talking about this 12th and 6th house relationship. This is really the dissolving out of belief systems that can cause mental and emotional stress. And something that Capricorn really needs to be careful of is the drama that's going to ensue from whatever you resist from changing. The more you resist and the less you go with the flow, the harder it's going to be for you. And I know that is so challenging. Now, as far as the deeper specifics, I do plan on going into it a little more deeper in the end of June reads, just because it is going to kind of be in the muck and thick of it all at that point. But I do want to give you guys a heads up that if you're struggling in these areas, it's not you, it's not your imagination. This stuff is really happening and it's very real, especially for the cardinal signs, you know, in the biggest way. It really is. I mean, you know, you guys, along with Aries and Cancer and Libra, you guys are being hit the most significantly out of all of the signs. So you're going to be especially slammed if any of those are additional placements within your chart. All right, so your crowning energy here, this Grand Cross Provoker. Let's talk about what this is. The Grand Cross is an area in the chart that indicates tension, but it's a tension that is a catalyst for movement and change. The Grand Cross is also called the Grand Square. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that. And that occurs when 4 planets form a perfect cross in the sky. Okay? And these planets are around 90 degrees from each other, meaning that there are four planetary squares 90 degrees apart. And planetary oppositions 180 degrees apart. So squares in astrology typically cause tension and restriction. And they come with the pressure to grow and pushing you to exceed any limitation that's put in your path. But the thing is this. While this does indicate a crisis, it's the type through which a painful process of growth occurs. Okay? Where the eventuality of this is a greater foundation for happiness and success. So this is very exhausting, and I know a lot of you guys have been going through it in the biggest way, and I know it's exhausting, but it's exhausting where you feel provoked and frustrated over what seem to be like booby traps set in your way, right? It's as if everything is working at cross purposes to you in this energy, and you feel pulled in a lot of directions at the same time. And yeah, I mean, this energy also indicates like false starts, false leads, failed plans, making you feel like everything that you're trying to achieve isn't actually looking the way you intended it to look. And that can be very frustrating. And this is very much an energy where you need to at least think about how it is you're communicating, and if you can't use a little bit of improvement in that sector. And in regards to relationships or love, very faded quality here in the biggest way. You will not want, Capricorn, you're not going to want to let go of this person no matter how hard it gets, whoever you're with and whatever kind of weird space you're in. There's going to be a sacrifice and a compromise with this relationship, which makes sense because this is what I mentioned before with the eclipses. And it's going to be one where you're going to be feeling like you're bumping your head against the wall, and walls that seem to fly up out of nowhere. Like as soon as you feel like you extinguish one fire, another one flies up. You're going to be challenged right now. You're definitely going to be challenged. And if you, this is the thing too. You really need to identify if this relationship is healthy for you. Because if you're feeling in your gut that this relationship is still good for you, even though it's so challenging, you're going to be sorry if you let it go. At the same time, if you know in your gut that you are trying to make something work that's not working, and you don't end it, it will be ended for you at some point. It's just not going to last. And I know that is a very heavy couple of lines I just said, but that is what this energy is. So think about that. Again, tarot and all of this is just about seeds for thinking, okay? For those of you questioning business or career, it's going to happen. You just have to be willing to put in the work. That's it. But what's great about this energy, this is you becoming so realistic and focused, kind of like back to yourself in a way, because that is really like who and what you guys are. You're not going to be attracted so much to like the glitz and glam of something, but you're going to look more towards stability and long-lasting success, which really is where you naturally reside, Capricorn. You do like the glitz and glam, you do, but you have that heavy earth element. So I just feel like you're going to be getting more in touch with that. You know, really important here though, more than anything, just because of the eclipse season. This energy is not the best energy to fight the hard lessons that life is trying to teach you right now. You know, this is a period where you need to be taking stock of all that has brought you to this place that you're at right now and really drawing your own strength, you know, because in doing so, you're going to move forward from uncertainty, right? Because I am getting a lot of you do feel like you're in this space of uncertainty into a place of peace and contentment. And believe it or not, yes, okay? Peace and contentment. Okay, let's get into this. So the space that you're in right now, we have the Ten of Swords energy. Okay, the Ten of Swords. Again, I apologize for the light. I have to figure that out. So Ten of Swords, not a shocker, because, you know, this is a Sun and Gemini card, which we're in, and you guys are so tuned in right now, and as scary as that card looks, it represents full consciousness and release and nothing being hidden anymore. It's like the final freeing blow. The suffering ends in this space, you know. Your soul is going to be liberated to finally feel and identify total enlightenment, you know, where you're feeling this lightness and finally feeling free, sort of in your head, to just roam around in your head, like free of troubles. Things are still bothering you. I'm not saying that everything is butterflies and roses right now, but you're starting to feel things shift into a better space for you. You know, this is where full consciousness can be had, you know, where nothing is hidden anymore. So I do like that. You're definitely going to be tapping into your higher consciousness for sure. Oh, this is very much a rebuilding energy. Very much a rebuilding energy. Wherever, like, if you needed something to end, this is something that was ending. If you need to rebuild something, something is going to be rebuilt. This card is all about rebirth, right? It's about death and rebirth. It's the cycle of endings and beginnings, you know? So yeah, I mean, going back to the Grand Cross, you know, if you're in this place with someone, look, and this is a general reading, so some of you could still be together. You could be in a weird place, and maybe you're together and your partner doesn't even realize you're in a weird place, but it's in your head because Capricorns are going through it, and you could be with a great partner, but you're feeling weird. This indicates this rebirth of you in the relationship and the ability for the relationship to have a rebirth. So I really do like that. I'm not mad at that for you. And then the crossing energy for you guys is the Queen of Cups. And when I say crossing, I mean like a blessing energy that sort of kind of lightly veils the whole reading. This is awesome for you guys. This is in your opposing energy and your twin, which is, it's in Cancer, right? This is your twin in this eclipse right now. This is, you guys are really working together here. So this energy is all about the pure blend of water with emotional depth, being very much in the mind of love and relationship, and very nostalgic. A very nostalgic space right now. There's going to be this ultimate sense of balance in your life. Once this time period ends, you're going to be incredibly intuitive right now, for sure. You know, this is about the moon too. So, you know, the moon does have a dark side. You know, it does. So some of you may be finding yourself lashing out at people or a certain person in a very emotional space, feeling very frustrated and emotional. very overprotective of something in your life. It could be even feeling overprotective of your sense of self. And you can even come off, be perceived as smothering to a certain extent to someone. That's just a little heads up. Just be mindful of that, because this is otherwise a super positive energy, indicating home and family life blessings. I love that. Yeah, so just be careful of that little snafu if you fall into that pocket of energy. And then moving on to the best that can be achieved in the circumstances, we have the Six of Cups reverse, which is more nostalgia. Nostalgia rules, and you may be recalling the past events with a lot more positivity than they deserve right now, Capricorn. You know, this card can also show you feeling locked in the past as a way to avoid moving on right now. And a particular relationship needs to stay in the past rather than be revived. And you're going to know which one that is. That's very inherently not good for you. For many of you, unexpected visitors or communications are going to come in that could stir up old memories, you know. And if this happens to you guys, let the memories rest, because these people have no place in your future, you know. And for those of you who are trying to work out relationships that have broken up fairly recently, you're feeling deeply nostalgic about what was. And I'm getting for many of you nostalgic for the narrative that you really wanted for the relationship, but that never materialized, if that makes sense. Like, because sometimes we set up ideas in the way we really want things to be in a relationship, in our mind, because it seems all completely feasible and easy and logical, right? To make these things happen when we're in a relationship. But sometimes life happens, and sometimes we realize that the other person's just not capable, or the relationship just isn't capable of being what we go into it wanting and intending. So I am getting that you guys need to go through this. This is very necessary for you guys. Very necessary energy to work through. And then in the foundation energy here, we have the Eight of Swords. And this is the Jupiter and Gemini energy. And remember, Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion, except here, Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini. So it's kind of forced to work with energies that are so different from its own. So it can actually be crippling. So I'm getting that many of you are kind of in this space of being forced to work through things that you are very uncomfortable to work through. But, understand, this is self-imprisonment. Swords are thoughts and ideas. She has herself trapped inside. So, Capricorn, you need to understand with this energy, this also symbolizes the process of initiation and the recognition that we're waking up. And that we're being forced to assess a situation and focus on our goals in a new way. And I'm getting that this is entirely uncomfortable for those of you who this resonates with. And then in your past position, we have the Star reverse, which indicates giving up too easily on a situation or a project of some sort in your life, something in your life. Many of you went through a space where you were experiencing a block in your life, something blocking you from moving forward in the way that you wanted or needed. This can also indicate that many of you may have been attached to a fantasy scenario, overlooking very important and obvious details, okay? And for others of you, this just indicates you feeling drawn into a false sense of security in a relationship, a situation that didn't have a healthy foundation to begin with. It never really had a really healthy chance of success. I am getting that many of you were in a place of feeling very alone without the support that you felt like you needed. But the good thing is that was in your past, okay? So now in your near future, we have the Temperance, which tells me that many of you are going to be dealing, and this is no surprise, a volatile situation where you're going to need to temper your thoughts and actions in order to find balance and harmony. So this means choosing not one or the other, but blending ideas. This is about compromise. Blending ideas, blending opposing ideas, opposing forces to create a solid solution to an issue, Capricorn. This card asks you not to resist, but to accept both sides of a situation and be guided by what feels more natural to you. You know, your intuition's going to let you know what that means. It's time to reconcile any area of your life that feels out of kilter right now, you know. This does tell me that many of you are going to be connecting with your guides and energy from loved ones who have crossed over. And many of you are going to be given signs such as advice from a friend or even a stranger. And if this is the case, you need to understand that this is being sent to you by someone who loves you very much on the other side. This is very, very positive. I love this. This is a new level of trust being attained. Those of you who are single are going to be guided toward a new partner during this time. But regardless, for all of you, this is a very emotionally intense time, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And then in the position representing you, we have the Sun, which is awesome, awesome. This is one of the most positive cards in the deck. Well, in the major arcana anyway. Most of you know, as I mentioned before, this is my favorite card. I just love this. So if you've been having a challenging time, Capricorn, this energy shows that every aspect of your life is going to be improving. You're going to be feeling more free and energetic. And if you or someone close to you is suffering from any kind of health issue, physical or mental, depression, anxiety, anything like that, it's going to lift. There are going to be improvements. This reveals good news about your children in general, also about spending great times with family and friends who make you laugh. Many of you are going to be reunited with an old friend, and many of you with an old partner or family member. There's lightness here. Lightness. Your career is going to be going well. Things will be going okay in your home. Those of you in serious relationships, is going to be a new kind of reconnection in a beautiful way. And those of you who have been separated, this energy does indicate new starts in old relationships. So I feel like many of you are going to be leaving relationships to get back into an even older relationship at this time. One from like even longer ago. And then your external influence is the Ten of Pentacles, which on the mundane level means many of you guys are going to be doing quite well financially. Many of you are going to be committing much deeper in your relationships. This external influence is about the benefits of sharing time, resources, anything to help each other out. And I love this, considering where the eclipses are hitting. You know, I love that. This is going to be really helpful for your 7th house if you're willing to do this. This is you kind of giving up a part of yourself for a relationship. But I feel like in the past you would have considered this kind of giving up a sacrifice, but an unhealthy sacrifice. But now there's going to be a new sense of willingness about it. So I think that's really beautiful for you. Okay, and then in your hopes and fears position, we have the 7 of Wands, which... all right, so what? Obstacles in your path, no kidding. What's new, Capricorn, right? But this tells me that you're going to just keep going and overcome them. That's what this energy is. So don't overthink this energy. When you're confronted with that, it's a minor arcana. Obstacles are going to happen. Obstacles always happen. And just remember that you're sitting on the sun. So let's move on. Let's go to that outcome card. We have the Knight of Cups. Love it, love it. What a beautiful outcome energy to be open to real love, Capricorn. Real love, the kind where you're giving every ounce of yourself. Many of you are going to be in a space with someone who is either new to you or who you're reconnecting with. Very emotional and generous person. Very honest. You guys are dying for someone who's honest, and you're just finally going to get this positive karmic payback. This individual is charming. This indicates a very chivalrous man and a very kind and nurturing woman. The major arcana counterparts of this is the Moon and the Knight of Cups. So here, with this Knight of Cups, okay, they're very romantic, very sensitive. They're very Piscean in their energy, okay? So there's going to be something almost mystical and hidden in this person, but please don't jump to conclusions thinking that they're being dishonest with you straight out of the gate, because this is their natural disposition. This is so terrific for you, Capricorn. And I do want to say that this can be very easily someone who you've been broken up with, but who has had a wake-up call. It doesn't matter. Equally so, this could be someone completely new and fantastic in your life, but what an awesome outcome. Capricorn, you're going to go through it. It's going to be tough, But what a beautiful outcome. I love this for you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.